Let's start off this video with a hot take. I prefer random encounters a lot more than overworld encounters. So much so that I think my recent enjoyment of the new Pokemon games have almost been tarnished because they've gotten rid of random encounters. And I'll give you my reasoning. First thing is I think it's a lot more entertaining to get Pokemon when they pop up after running through the grass for a while, rather than just kind of standing there and watching things go by. I also think shinies are a lot more fun to get when they pop up and sparkle after hunting it, rather than just, watching it appear in the overworld. Along with shinies, there's also super rare Pokemon on routes, like 1% Pokemon. So on the topic of 1% encounters, from Larvesta in Lush Jungle to Yanma on Route 35, there are a lot of 1% encounters in Pokemon, so why not go through a whole Pokemon game where the only Pokemon you can use are 1% encounters that you have to hunt yourself. That sounds so cool. So let's get into the rules of the run. So the first rule is I can obviously only use Pokemon with a 1% encounter rate that I caught in battle. I can't use any other Pokemon. I'm gonna need other Pokemon for HMs. I also have to get all 1% encounter Pokemon before I beat the game and defeat the champion. And no items in battle because I usually never use items in battle. So let's get started with the 1% encounter yellow run. So of course I have to start with Pikachu, but don't worry, I will be using Pikachu for a very short amount of time because the first obstacle and Pokemon of this run is located in Viridian Forest. So what is the first Pokemon that's gonna star on this star-studded cast? We got Pidgeotto in Viridian Forest after only 52 encounters. I was very surprised. I thought it would be at least over 100, but anything less than 100 is good with a 1% chance, so 52 was very awesome. So this Pidgeotto gets the top tier nickname of Mork for the rest of the journey. Now Brock is going to be a bit of a problem because the only Pokemon we can use is a flying type against the rock type gym leader, but Mork always pulls through, and we beat Brock in 5 attempts and Mork being level 18. Plus, side note, why is Gust a normal type move? It's time to give Mork some company though with our second team member at Mount Moon, a 1% Clefairy. Now this one wasn't as speedy as the 52 and took almost double 52 at 112 encounters. But we have added Lisa to the team. I thought of doing a Simpsons theme from now on. Of course, Mork will be the outlier in this, but it's okay. We finish Mount Moon with Mork being pretty overleveled and Lisa the Clefairy getting a new upgrade to a Clefable after we found a Moonstone. Next we head to Misty where we absolutely demolish her poor Staryu and Starmie. Now it's time to get our third team member though in exhilarating, exciting 1% Raticate. What makes this Raticate super cool is that level 17 Rattata is on the same route with a 25% chance, but no, we gotta hunt until we get a 1% Raticate, which took 233 encounters. I had to look it up multiple times if it was still on this route. But we eventually get the Raticate. I really like the sprite in Gen 1, and we name it Bart.
Cowabunga, dude!
Then we head to the SS Anne, where this dude is talking about rare Pokemon in the Safari Zone. Trust me, bro, we will get to that. And after the captain enlisted a 10-year-old to rub his back, we head to Lieutenant Surge, who only has 1 Pokemon, so it was pretty easy. The hardest part was definitely the trash can puzzle. I struggled with that for quite a minute. So if we look at the team so far, we got a normal flying type, a normal type, and a normal type. So I'm hoping that the next encounter gives us some sort of type diversity. It's a normal type. It's Fearow. We got a 1% Fearow on Route 9 after only 26 encounters. I was blown away. That is definitely probably going to be the shortest we ever hunt something. So let's name this Fearow after the most iconic and my favorite Simpsons character, Dr. Nick.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Dr. Nick.
Except I forgot to put Doctor and just put D and pressed start, so he's D from now on. Another first try easy sweep of the gym leader Erica, and it's on to the Team Rocket base. I didn't think I would use D a lot since everything else is stronger, but D actually has a good moveset, and he was doing good for me. We are flying through the game because now it is Koga time, and somebody needs to demote Koga from gym leader. He had 3 Venonats and 1 Venomoth, and my very, very underleveled team absolutely swept those 4 Pokemon. But it is time for a new team member, and going with the theme, we got a normal flying type in Dodrio on Route 17, and it took just shy of 200 encounters at 193. And we will name this Dodrio Homer this time. And when it rains, it pours, because we already are going to get a new team member on Route 15, and this was after 99 encounters, just shy of 100. I thought that was pretty cool. And we are actually getting some type diversity because it's a Venomoth, meaning we get a bug poison type, no normal or flying in sight. And we will name this Venomoth Ned.
Okily-dokily-do.
And with that, we are done with every single route encounter, so it is time to take on Blaine, and Blaine actually took 2 attempts. And I gotta say, Lisa the Clefable is definitely my ace. She is a great Pokemon. She can learn a lot of different moves and is very strong. Now guys, this is the part of the video where it went from, oh, you know, it's not that bad, to it's very bad. Because we are going to get the final 4 encounters from the Safari Zone. Now, the Safari Zone is an absolute nightmare. You can only walk 500 steps, so I can't even stay and grind forever. I have to leave and then pay $500 to go back in. So I gotta make sure I have an absolute surplus of money. And the way catching Pokemon works is they run away very often, but you can throw bait, which decreases the chance that they'll run away, but also decreases the chance that you'll catch it. Or you could throw a rock, which increases the chance that they'll run away, but increases the chance that you'll catch it. Or you could just throw a Safari Ball, which is what I decided to do. So the first Pokemon in the final 4 Safari Zone encounters is Scyther. And not only is Scyther a 1% chance, it also has an 11% catch rate, is what the internet says. So it's gonna be very difficult. And I can only get so many encounters with each trip to the Safari Zone before I have to pay $500. But I finally caught Scyther. Not after 1 encounter though, not 3, not 5, but 8 encounters with Scyther before it got in the ball. It was on the 768th encounter, and this is a list of every time I encountered Scyther but failed to catch it. And I also went into the Safari Zone 19 different times, meaning I spent $9,500, just shy of 10 grand for this Scyther, which is very underleveled compared to the other teammates, so I might not even use him. But I named the Scyther Troy after Troy McClure.
Hello, I'm Troy McClure.
Next, we backtrack a tiny bit to the Saffron City Gym Leader with Sabrina, and it's another nice, quick, easy sweep. Honestly, my team is awesome, and I have yet to struggle with any gym leader. So a team of 1% encounters are doing pretty good for me so far. And the break is short-lived because we are back to the Safari Zone where we have the mother of all Safari Zone encounters. We gotta catch a 1% Chansey. This is gonna be the hardest one of the 4, so I'm getting it out of the way now. And after the Scyther, I'm extremely worried of just how long this Chansey is gonna take. So we get our first Chansey after 66 encounters, but of course, we do catch it. Oh, we caught the Chansey first try at 66 encounters. That's awesome. That is not how the Scyther went. So that was pretty easy. Dethroning Chansey, I think Scyther is now the mother of all Safari Zone encounters. But I'll be honest, I'm not using Chansey or Scyther. They are just outclassed by my other team members who have been doing really good work for me so far. So now we are taking on the final gym leader in Giovanni, and honestly, Lisa's Blizzard was the king of this battle. And I looked it up, and Blizzard has a 90% accuracy in Gen 1, which is insane. Blizzard is the best move I've ever used. But let's go back to the Safari Zone for the 3rd Safari Zone encounter, and this encounter pissed me off, like seriously. So it was Pinsir with a 1% chance, and you got to hear these encounters. I found Pinsir after 21 encounters, which was great. It ran away though, and then I didn't see another Pinsir until 448. That's 420 encounters in between those two at a 1% rate. I should have been seeing like 4 in that time. So it took 12 Safari Zone trips to get the Pinsir, and I hate this Pinsir. I'm definitely not using this Pinsir. So moving on from my Pinsir hate fest, but we got the Elite Four to take on. And I have been humbled because the gyms have been super easy in this game. Honestly, I have not really struggled with any of them, but the Elite Four were a different beast. Lorelei's team is brutal because most of my Pokemon are flying types, and she uses Blizzard on the Lapras, and I said Blizzard was the best move ever. So we're gonna need to grind in Victory Road a bit and figure out a good strategy. As I was doing doing this, I thought to just triple check and make sure I got all 1% encounter Pokemon throughout the game, and I can't believe it, but I actually missed one. And not just any one, but this one would go on to take the longest amount of time and the most encounters to get it. And it's back to the Safari Zone. Real quick though, this is the first ever video on my channel, so I would really appreciate anyone who's watching and enjoying to subscribe and help me out on this new channel. So we got Scyther after 768 encounters, and we get this Pokemon after 777. And it is one of my favorite Pokemon ever in Tangela. I don't know how I missed this thing. I love Tangela. But here is a list of every time I encountered Tangela but failed to catch it. And it took 19 Safari Zone trips, which is the same as Scyther. And I love Tangela, but we are definitely not going to use it on the Elite Four battle that we got to get back to. So looking at my team, Lisa, Bart, and Dee are the three strongest, and I'm mostly going to be utilizing them to take down the Elite Four, and the other ones are going to be emotional support Pokemon. So Lisa is going to be tasked with taking on Lorelei since she is not a flying type, and I'm going to be mostly utilizing her strength move. And then moving on to Bruno, I'm going to use Dee's flying move on all the fighting type he has, and then use Lisa's Blizzard on Onix since it's super effective. And then Bart's Dig is perfect for Agatha's poison types, but we really run into problems when we get to Lance, and Lance's Aerodactyl is the hardest Pokemon in the Elite Four in my opinion. I need to save at least one power point of Lisa's valuable Blizzard for that Aerodactyl. But overall, this Elite Four is a lot harder than any gym leader, and I'm curious if this is like the usual Kanto experience or if it's just the weird team that I have. So after Blizzarding the Aerodactyl, I finally make it to the champion for the first time, and we easily sweep the champion, and we beat the game with a team of just 1% Pokemon. This was such a fun run. Let's look at some final run stats, because the shortest I encountered a 1% Pokemon took only 21 times with the first Pinsir, and the longest was 233 with Raticate. Overall, it took 2,774 Pokemon encounters to catch all 10 1% Pokemon. Overall, the Safari Zone is not as scary as I thought it would be, and the coolest 1% Pokemon in yellow is definitely Tangela, and the least cool is a level 17 Raticate. I'm excited to do this in more games and see what crazy teams we can come up with. But thank you so much for watching. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel. It would really mean so much since this is the first video on my channel ever. And leave some feedback in the comments. Goodbye.